know Iran is funding Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, their surrogates in Syria, their surrogates in Iraq. Why has President Biden's administration been so soft on them? Well, do they just think love is the answer, and that this isn't a bar fight, and that, I mean, it just looks to me like this administration is quoting Socrates in the middle of a prison riot.
The room goes quiet when Senator John Kennedy starts stacking the numbers. Money into Gaza, aid flowing through international groups, billions moving through banks overseas, and then the question that stops the hearing cold. If Iran funds groups like Hamas, why hasn't the administration fully pulled the financial plug? If you're new here, consider subscribing, because moments like this show exactly how these confrontations unfold in Congress.
Senator Kennedy of Louisiana is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Levitt, Hamas runs Gaza, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And lots of people help Hamas, don't they?
There are people who help. There are lots of people in Gaza who oppose Hamas as well.
Well, Qatar sends Hamas $10 million a month to run the place, does it not?
It has.
The Palestinian Authority, which the people of Gaza rejected in favor of Hamas, pays Gaza's electricity bill. They keep the lights on for Hamas, don't they?
Well, to be clear, the people of Gaza didn't reject the Palestinian Authority. Hamas took over with force of arms.
I don't want to debate that.
Yeah, there's not much to debate.
Yes,
the Palestinian Authority does provide salaries to its people in Gaza.
Does the Palestinian Authority pay for the keeping the lights on in Gaza?
They pay for some of it, yes.
The UN sends Hamas money to educate the children, does it not?
UN pays for some education in Gaza. They do that through their own agencies.
Is that a yes?
They provide the money into Gaza, yes.
I'll take that as a yes. The UN gives Hamas money to run hospitals, does it not?
The UN runs hospitals in Gaza too, yes.
And in fact, doesn't Hamas tax at the rate of 16.5% every bit of food and aid that comes in to Gaza?
They do tax everything. I don't know the exact percent.
Hamas levies a tax on even fish caught, does it not?
They tax everything.
And Hamas also levels an income tax, does it not?
That too.
Okay. President Biden's administration has not enforced the sanctions on Iranian oil, on Iranian oil, has it?
No.
Okay. So you agree with Ms. I'm sorry, I can't see you. Pleska. So you agree?
I tend to make it a policy to try to agree with Ms. Pletka whenever possible.
Yeah. Well, you're smart. You told us you were smart. President Biden has not chosen to impose the snapback sanctions under the JPCOA, has he?
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Pletka, who has the $6 billion?
It's in a bank in Qatar.
Okay. So Qatar has control of it.
In essence, that is correct, although...
Well, let me put it this way. If the Qatar bank, there's a Qatar bank. If Qatar tells them to do something and the United States tells them not to do something, who's the bank going to listen to?
Well, that is the question before us right now.
Who's the bank going to listen to?
Qatar,
of
their
course.
government.
Okay. And isn't it a fact that back in 2021, Treasurer Yellen, through special drawing rights at the International Monetary Fund, gave Iran $4.5 billion?
That's what I understand, yes.
And she'd like to give them more.
That's what I understand, yes.
That's like cash money. It's really a dividend. You can cash in for U.S. dollars. Is that right?
That's what I understand.
Wow. It seems to me that we could cut off Hamas, or at least to go a long way toward doing that by actually just enforcing the things that we already say we're enforcing.
Every authority that is necessary to cut off Iran, Hamas, and every other terrorist group is already in the president's hands. The question is never whether the president can, it's whether the president will.
Well, why has the Biden administration been so soft on Iran? If we know Iran is funding Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, their surrogates in Syria, their surrogates in Iraq, why has President Biden's administration been so soft on them?
Well,
do they just think love is the answer, and that this isn't a bar fight, and that, I mean, it just looks to me like this administration is quoting Socrates in the middle of a prison riot.
That's a very apt picture. I'm not a spokesman for the Biden administration, so I can only give you my estimation. There has always been a problem in our compartmentalization in dealing with Iran. We have prioritized their nuclear program, their nuclear weapons program, understandably, but we have not ignored, but diminished the importance of their support for terrorism, their regional disruptions, and their human rights record. Those things need to change. We need to tighten the screws on Iran in every single aspect.
Peace through weakness never works, does it?
No.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy.
The exchange begins with a blunt reality check. Senator Kennedy asks the witness to confirm something widely understood in the region. Hamas runs the Gaza Strip. The witness agrees, though he notes not everyone living there supports the group. Kennedy quickly moves to the money trail. He points out that outside funding and institutional support still flows into Gaza. Humanitarian aid, electricity payments, and international programs continue operating there. The senator presses the witness on whether those funds ultimately pass through territory controlled by Hamas. The witness explains that agencies such as the United Nations operate their own programs for education and healthcare, but Kennedy pushes further, arguing that when aid flows into an area run by Hamas, the group can still benefit indirectly. Then comes the taxation point. Kennedy notes that Hamas has historically taxed goods, aid, and income inside Gaza. His argument is simple. If the group taxes everything entering the territory, then humanitarian assistance can still generate revenue for the governing authority. From there, Kennedy pivots to the bigger geopolitical issue, Iran. He questions whether the administration has aggressively enforced sanctions on Iranian oil exports. According to the testimony, the answer is no. Kennedy also raises the issue of whether the U.S. has triggered snapback sanctions tied to the nuclear deal framework involving International Monetary Fund allocations and broader financial policy. Then he brings up one of the most controversial numbers in the discussion, $6 billion currently held in a Qatari bank tied to a U.S.-Iran prisoner agreement. Kennedy presses the witness. If that money sits in Qatar, who ultimately controls how it's used? And if Washington objects to a transaction, would the bank follow U.S. instructions or its own government's? The exchange turns sharper. Kennedy argues that the United States already has the legal tools needed to cut off funding channels tied to Iran and its proxies. In his view, the issue isn't authority, it's willingness to use it. Finally, he asks the central question of the hearing. If Iran is accused of backing groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis across the region, why hasn't the U.S. applied maximum financial pressure? The witness gives a more strategic answer. For years, he explains, American policy toward Iran has often focused primarily on stopping its nuclear weapons program. Other issues, regional militancy, terrorism support, and destabilizing activities have sometimes taken a secondary role. His conclusion is direct. Pressure on Iran may need to increase across every front, not just nuclear policy. The hearing ends with Kennedy's final point hanging in the air. Peace through weakness rarely works.